witches. It is Wednesday. It is time for the Witches Movie Coven. So grab your goat, grab a cocktail, maybe even tonight a margarita, because we are talking about practical magic. Yes, the original Sandra Bullock and Nicole Kidman, 1998. Practical Magic. Why are we watching that movie? Because it's my birthday week, and I picked it because it's one of my favorite movies. Oh, I love your doll, Heather.
Yeah, happy birthday. We're all here to say hi.
Cute. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us. Jump in that chat room. We listen, we watch. Hi, Kevin and Kristen and Kelly and Christy and Kristen. And okay, I'm going to move on. I am Patty Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from The Witching Hour, my regular podcast, from Ghost Adventures, from Bathroom Walls Across America. I got goat, I do travel. But let me pass you on to my beautiful co-host. Let's start with Jason this time.
I'm Jason Mankey, 10-time author. Woo! For Llewellyn, this is my latest book, High Priest, a biography of Raymond Buckland. I'm so excited to be here tonight because the original 5 are all together for the first time in maybe 2 months. So, I'm just stoked because I've missed Courtney so much, and I love you, and I'm so glad you're back.
Thank you. Yes, we have missed you. Speaking of, let's move over to Courtney. Hey, Courtney.
Hey, that's me, Ghostbait on Scared and Alone, Courtney Buckley. So glad to be back. I miss you guys. Healing is not linear. Sometimes, there's ups and downs, so that's why I wasn't here again last week. But I'm so glad to be here celebrating Patty's birthday and talking about this movie because I have a lot of things to say. So here we go.
Are we seeing hexing in the coming? We will see. Oh, wow. Well, you look very spooky. I like your spikes.
Thank you.
Spikes. I like don't cuddle with anyone. Richard Leal.
Hi, that would be me. I am Dusty Witherbottoms. I'm just kidding. That's my maid. Dusty Witherbottoms is my maid. I don't have a maid. Anyway, Richard Leal. Richard Leal is one name, not two. If I were just Richard, I would be a. That is right. I'm known as the gentleman psychic medium. I used to be a psychic in a small, but I gained some weight. Anyway, if you are following along in those things over there, make certain you hit the like, subscribe, all of those things. Follow us, like us. We will read you. It helps out the algorithms. Also, go right over here to right over there to Mystery Control, where you can dress like us. You can wear our quotes. You could cuddle with me if you like. Who would have thought?
Thank you very much. And last but never ever least, the wonderful Heather Green.
Hi, everyone. I am Heather Green. I am the author of Lights, Camera, Witchcraft, A Critical History of Witches in American Film and Television. It's a definitive guide, and this is the perfect season to be reading this book and following along because you can watch lots of witchy films during October. I am also an occult, not an occult journalist. I am a journalist who covers the occult and witchcraft. I guess it's also an occult journalist. And I am also an editor that works with wonderful authors like some of the ones in this chat room and in this coven that cover witchcraft topics. So that is me. And I am excited as well to be with my entire full coven. I feel like we are the Pentagram of 5 back complete tonight.
Best birthday present ever to have all of the main crew, the 5 main crew. So thank you guys for being here. Hopefully everybody watched Practical Magic. If you didn't watch it this time, hopefully you've seen it in the past. It's been around a while, but just in case someone didn't see it, I can't wait to hear this one.
I may surprise you today.
Richard Leal, do you have your thorough, always in-depth, unbiased synopsis of this film?
I certainly do. All right. Practical Magic, 1998. It starts off in Salem 300 years ago, and they do not do witch trials that are by fire, but literally by, which is much more historically accurate. Thank you, Courtney Buckley. However, what is not accurate is because this woman that is being brought to trial is in fact a literal broom riding, nose twitching, hex sending witch. And so she does not, in fact, she descends gracefully upon the pavement because she was brought to trial. She was a floozy, she was a woman of ill repute, and she was a man-eater. Not cannibalism, but a man-eater. She had taken the husbands of all of those puritanical women, and I couldn't imagine why anyone married to a Puritan woman would rather have a witch. Couldn't imagine. Anyway, so she actually is with child, and of course the Puritans are notorious for executing women and their unborn, pro-life, you know. Anyway, so the man that she loved does not come back for her and the child, so she puts a curse on herself that any man who will love her or her descendants will die. It's a little melodramatic because there's now a lot of fatherless children running about. That's okay. That's okay. That's fine. Fast forward 300 odd years to Maine. These two little girls, their mother and father are deceased. The father is killed by the curse. The mother, because of YouTube, I will tell you, died of a broken heart. There's a little bit more to that, but she died of a broken heart, ostensibly. So these two little girls go to live with the aunties in this big old house that doesn't actually exist, darn it. And then, of course, the little girls decide that they are going to play with magic because matches are obviously not safe anywhere, but magic is. So these little girls practice magic and they do blood packs. Why is it always on the palm of the hand, which always is the worst place to get a cut because it never heals, but blood magic on the palm of the hand. And she had made this wish. I don't remember their names. Sandra Bullock's younger self makes this wish that she would find the perfect man who is impossible, who flips star pancakes and has a green eye and a blue eye, and likes stars because that obviously is so rare. Anyway, fast forward again, and apparently she had forgotten all about this magical pact that she had created, and she marries a man with brown eyes, not blue and green, but brown eyes. And of course, she has two children. She has the happy, normal life that she's always wanted. And then, well, it's a mixed bag of fruit. I mean, he gets ended. It was a drive-by fruiting. I mean, he became applesauce in the street. Why is he standing in the middle of the street? Because he's a man. And that's what men do in Maine, is stand up in the street with their apple carts. It boggles the mind. Meanwhile, Jiminy Cricket is always the sign that there's going to be some kind of unaliving of one's loved one. So she, of course, knows, Sandra Bullock knows that this is what's going to happen. And she remodels the house by ripping up the floorboards to find Jiminy Cricket. To no avail, husband ends up by being applesauce. Meanwhile, she completely forgets about him. The children act as though they're actually happier that he's gone. I don't know why. Meanwhile, Nicole Kidman ends up by going off and being a saucy witch. And she finds someone that he's an addictive, well, he's an acquired taste. He's an acquired taste. So she runs off, and then of course he comes to kidnap her, and things get out of hand. He gets unalived with a bottle of, oh goodness. What was the poison? I should know. I'm just going to say it was arsenic, but it was not. Belladonna. Thank you. It was belladonna. And then they bring him back to life, even though they knew that they weren't supposed to do that, but they bring him back to life. And then they unalive him again, this time with an iron skillet. Iron for the win. And then, of course, after they bury him right next to the house, like in all of Maine, why not bury him right outside the kitchen door, like 2 feet deep? Nobody will ever find him 2 feet deep outside of my kitchen door. So instantly, all of these roses grow up, and apparently, Sandra Bullock has 2 daughters that see ghosts that are there but aren't there but aren't there, but meanwhile they can't see. Anyway, roses grow overnight to indicate that this is this person. Well, meanwhile, apparently they have stolen boyfriend's car because he doesn't need it anymore, because he's pushing up roses, not daisies, but roses. And apparently this police officer has tracked down this nefarious person and finds the car. Why? Because he's there. And guess what? He has a star on his badge. He likes stars. And even though you can't tell until they're inches from each other that he has blue and green eyes, even though in every other shot they look the same, but whatever, not my business, not my business. She tells him that she unalived him twice. Confession time. Sister gets possessed by the spirit. Police officer sees. He investigates the town. The town call them witches, which is true. Witch, you're a witch. 300 years, same chant. Anyway, child causes chickenpox by hexing. Of course, Officer Bullock in love, possessed. And then, of course, in a fit of sort of clarity, they need a coven. So now they call up all of the other moms in the school and they say, oh, by the way, I really am a witch. I came out of the broom closet. I'm a witch. And even though they spent 25 years hating these people, they decided, oh, we're going to go there. We're going to save. Oh, and I forgot to mention this part. This Diablo beer that is everywhere. They broke the bottle, number one. Number two, the aunties are drinking this bottle of Diablo beer and singing the song that he sang. And they say, oh, yeah, we found it on the porch. Okay. Who drinks random beer they find on their porch when they live in a town with people who hate them? I don't understand that. They're witches. Maybe they know. Anyway, so all these ladies come that hate them, but now they have decided, oh, I might actually be a witch too. And suddenly, just like that, they bring their broom and they exorcise the spirit of the ex-boyfriend. Another blood pact on the wrist. Flashback, 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 music, 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 flashback. Happily ever after. Bullock marries officer. Girls are happy. That's credits, I think. Patty, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
She's
Sorry, my dog
speechless.
is barking.
She's
Sorry.
speechless after Richard
I
Lamb.
have nothing to say to you, Rael. Thank you. Nothing. No. Thank you for that very thorough, unbiased explanation of the film. Now everybody understands it, but just in case there is a few tidbits you may have missed, Heather Green, help! Heather Green, do you have 5 other things we might need to know about this, my favorite film?
Well, I'm going to keep it kind of short tonight, but I did have a full section in my book of several pages on this movie because it's a really instrumental and important movie in the study of witchcraft representation. And I'll give kind of a little preview of that. But this is a 1999 movie. Its budget was $60 million. They put in a lot of money to this movie. It has since made, as far as I can tell, only about 68 million. So it has not been a success. It was not a success when it came out, considered that, and has not been considered a success after that. Now, if you ask the witchcraft community, you would be very surprised at that because the witchcraft community absolutely loves this film. And I can assure you that when it was in the theaters, my own coven, we all went together to watch it. So this has been not a successful film, and to a lot of witches that might sound surprising. It was directed by Griffin Dunn, and it was based on a novel, and I have a copy of it right here. This is a version that came out. Well, there's one version. There it is. Alice Hoffman's Practical Magic. So it was based on a book that was published, I believe, earlier in the decade, around 95. So let's just talk a little bit about context, just so everyone knows when this came out and why. So as you guys know, if you've been here before, talking about the Satanic Panic, which began in the Hollywood wise, we began seeing films about the late 80s into the 90s. You see Satanic Panic oriented films that are very negative, very about child molestation, about women man eaters, as was noticed. You see a lot of that in the early 90s, and it tapers out and really hits a change in 96 with The Craft. This movie is after that. So this movie comes out during a period of time where witchcraft films really changed face, where Hollywood and television were really trying to make peace with what modern witchcraft was. They were trying to establish this idea that there was good magic, there was good witchcraft, and there was bad witchcraft. And they were trying to draw lines. And so you see that in this movie. And that's what I talk about in the book a lot, about this sort of whitewashing of witchcraft and what that means, and how this movie really tries to normalize witchcraft. And that's a bigger discussion for another time. But that's really what you're seeing here. This is sort of that period, that center period of time after Charmed and Buffy the Vampire Slayer and The Craft and a whole host of films and TV shows that really were trying to make peace with the idea of there is actually a real witchcraft that is actually okay, and this continues into the 2000s. So that's sort of the context of this film, and that's why it's really popular with modern witches. So the cast, of course, real briefly, I don't have to really name these names more than once. I think everybody knows who they are. You have Sandra Bullock playing Sally, of course. She was known for Speed. She was in The Proposal and a host of other films that you've seen, I'm sure, over the decade. She is a star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. She is pretty famous and pretty prolific in her stuff. We can talk about our favorite Sandra Bullock films, really. Of course, Stockard Channing, and all I'm going to say is Grease, because if you think of Stockard Channing, the only thing you should think about is Rizzo in Grease. Moving on, Nicole Kidman, who plays Ginny. Now, Nicole Kidman is equally as famous. She's one of the most highly paid actresses in Hollywood. Eyes Wide Shut, of course, Moulin Rouge, and she's recently in a TV show I can't think of the name of right now. I saw her recently, but she's still acting and pretty prolific. We can also come up with our favorite Nicole Kidman movies. Diane West, she is someone I just adore seeing on screen. I don't know why. I just adore seeing her face. Edward Scissorhands. She's apparently in Only Murders in the Building, or only, I'm not watching that show, but that she's apparently in that. I'm not watching that TV show. The Birdcage, Hannah and Her Sisters. She's been in so much throughout. She's like 80 something years old, and she is going strong, and she's a darling. And then, of course, Aidan Quinn. And Aidan Quinn is another recognizable face. He was at this time. Legends of the Fall, Benny and June, Desperately Seeking Susan. Got to mention that one. And I do want to bring up the fact that Aidan Quinn was in another witch film that we've discussed here, The Last Keepers, one of my favorite little sleeper witchcraft films that we've watched. And it's, I think, a 2015 film about witchcraft in the family. So that is some of the people in this film that are very recognizable. The cast was big. When it came out, the cast was, they picked people that everybody knew for this film. So was the film hexed? I don't know if you guys know about this, but the director was convinced that this film was hexed, and that is the reason why it was unsuccessful. Many of the films starting in this period of time had witchcraft consultants, okay? And of course, The Craft is one of the most famous ones. There were ones prior to this, few and far between, but starting in this time, you see it more frequently. This film had a consultant on it. And Griffin Dunn was convinced the reason this film was not successful was because it was hexed. The consultant apparently, according to the story, wanted more money for various services. They wouldn't pay it. It was outside the contract, yada, yada. And then she threatened, and I think I have the quote, "I'm going to put a curse on you. I'm putting a curse on the movie." And then later in another phone call, the woman slipped into tongues. That is what has been reported. And that is the reason this film was Griffin Dunn believes it was hexed and it was not successful.
I have a question, Heather, on that. So was it cursed by ancient French Wiccans?
You know what? That wasn't specified. That's my suspicion, because that's exactly what it sounds like. Ancient. What was that? French
Wiccans.
French Wiccans. Exactly. So exactly. He apparently was in I can't remember how the story goes now, and I might be relaying it wrong, but he was apparently on a plane and they played practical magic on the plane and people booed or something like that. There's some kind of story about him being on a plane and realizing how horrified people were at this movie. Either way, was it hexed? I don't know. The consultant may have been upset. I don't know the whole story. That's what I have so far for you.
But who was on that plane? That's the thing. Was it a bunch of evangelical pastors from Oklahoma? I mean,
this was years ago, decades and decades ago. So I don't know. But all I know is that the film may have not been successful now, but it's had a following, and a Halloween following specifically. Enough so that we are getting a sequel. So next year in September 18th, we have the release of Practical Magic 2, which is based on the book of Magic. This is a sequel. Okay. There was chatter about a prequel being made, and HBO actually was looking at making a prequel, which would have been a adaptation of the book Rules of Magic, which comes before the Practical Magic book. So this is the original I'm holding up here, the original. So there's a prequel, and it's called The Rules of Magic. They originally were going to make this. HBO has the property, but it hasn't happened. It's dead in the water. So now we're looking at the sequel based on the Book of Magic, and that was written in 2021. And of course, we will see that next year, September 18th, and I'm sure we'll be here for that, maybe looking at this movie again or reviewing the new one, or who knows. And the stars are coming back for it. So that's what I have now. I could discuss a lot of other things about this movie, but I think I will stop there with just some of those notes, and we can talk about how much we love or hate Practical Magic.
Thank you. Now, isn't that odd? You're the expert on these things. That something that was considered not a success, it didn't make its money back. It's been over 25 years that they are making a sequel. Isn't that odd?
We have seen that so many times. They get cult followings, and especially when a movie is, it's prominent in. It doesn't make its money back initially, but then over time it gets cult followings, and time sort of, it becomes like we see it every Halloween. And then of course we have a resurgence of the interest in witchcraft in 10, 15 years later. And it's like, wait a minute, we've got this property, let's try again. So it's kind of Hocus Pocus wasn't successful when it first came out. Wizard of Oz wasn't successful when it first came out. And then you get these resurgences of the interest in witchcraft, and pow, they say, hey, let's pull up this property and try again, because there's something still there. There's still, kindling there that's still hot, and there's still fire beneath it. So let's try it again. So I think that's what we're looking at.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I picked this movie. I do love this movie. I loved it in 1998. I love it now. I do have to say, I don't like the bird scene. I forgot about the bird scene.
Yes.
Luckily, we didn't see the bird scene, but we know what they did, and that should have been left out completely. If I have anything to say in the next one, there won't be a bird scene, because you don't need to kill a bird for a love spell. I've done love spells. You don't need to kill a bird for a love spell.
Well, what about the frog croaking up a ring? I mean, what about that?
But he didn't die.
Well,
That had
I
to
mean,
have, that had to have wrecked his insides, right? Like,
Oh,
I mean, the frog's little esophagus is so tiny, right? I mean,
he survived.
and then there's this big ring. I mean, that poor frog.
He survived. The frogs survived. The kids did not kill the frogs. All the frogs were put back into the swamp where they belong. I'm okay. Frogs eat funny things. Frog's fine. Frog's fine, Jason. Stop it. I think everything about it. Being a slightly younger witch at the time, the magic, the apothecaries, what they did. All the actors you mentioned are all people I love madly. I think the casting was friggin' brilliant. The aunties, when you're young, you want to be the two daughters. When you're old, you want to be the aunties. I want to be all of them. And the house they live in, I want to live in. The town, maybe not so much. But it was, to me, a movie is to be entertaining, and I was entertained. I was and coming in, the love story. That's all I have to say. So next year, we're going to do Practical Magic 2, okay, for my birthday. But it'll be fresh in the movie, so that's what we're doing. So, yeah. And it's really hard to believe that it is almost 30 years difference. 30 years since then. I think it holds up very well. Yes, the witchcraft isn't perfect. Yes, they tried to kill Bird, but that's all I have to say right now. Move on.
You know what I liked about it? I'm going to tell you what I liked about it. Sandra Bullock turns on candles by breathing on them. And after all of those margaritas and porch beers, it's no wonder she could practically breathe fire.
Exactly. And midnight margaritas has become a thing. I actually forgot that I was going to have a margarita net with birthday champagne, but I mean, there's just too much classic stuff that I remember things that I don't remember of in my life. So that was a well done movie, in my humble opinion. How about you, Courtney?
Well, this movie, for me, I have to agree with you. I watch it every year, and since it came out, I think it for me is like the first cup of hot apple cider for fall time. It just gives me that like warm and fuzzy on the inside, and it's I think the first movie that made me feel like I wanted to be a witch, or that I could be a witch, because it seemed so natural and normal and whatever. And I envied their family, and me and my cold dead heart, it made me believe in love a little bit. So it's one of those love stories that I can fall into. And whenever he says, "I wished for you too," I lose it every time. And I don't know. I just think it's scary a little bit, or at least it was when I was younger, and it's beautiful. And I think, is the witchcraft exactly what I do? No. And I didn't end up like them, obviously, considering all the hexing that I do, but I think that it's believable in the way that like
off the roof with the umbrella.
Yeah, I do.
Halloween.
Yeah.
Don't you do that?
I also think it's believable to me that, like, all the gossipy townspeople or whatever, and as soon as they need help and they reach out and they say, "Hey, yeah, we're witches," the truth of it is that everybody just wants to be nosy, so they're going to show up and they're going to be witches, and and it's like that community that witchcraft brings. So I think it's a beautiful movie. I have no notes, and if anyone disagrees, it's going down. So
yes. And yes,
Richard Gale, I'm looking at you.
as Rob just said, and we got Stevie Nicks,
Right, obviously. So
obviously.
yeah.
And my favorite witch of all time, Faith Hill. I mean, nothing makes me think of witchcraft more than Faith Hill. Yeah, this kiss, it's unstoppable. That's in the movie.
I literally can't hear that song without immediately being like, oh, like let me grab my umbrella and jump off a roof. So
I just turn the volume down. That's what it makes me do.
Wow.
Oh, Jason.
So I started watching this yesterday evening, And my wife said to me, she goes, "Didn't you already do this for the show like maybe 2 years ago?" Which is correct if you've been watching us from the very beginning. And I think I got hexed on that show because I probably gave this a wands down 2 years ago, but I liked it better the second time.
Wow.
I find this movie very uneven. It tries to be 5 or 6 different things. It's a comedy, it's a love story. There are scenes that I think tonally are trying to frighten you a little bit. There's like girlfriend abuse, spousal abuse, which really makes me uncomfortable. So there's lots of things in this movie, and I don't think they quite gel together, but I love the actresses so much that I can't help but kind of get like swept up in it just the same, even if some of the shifts in how the storytelling goes sort of leave me a little bit cold.
Perfect. Thank you. Richard Lyell.
Well, how do I put this delicately? The music reminded me of high school, because it was high school. I liked some of the music. I loved the house. I want that house. That the kitchen was great. Did I love it? No, I did not love it. Will I watch it again next year and hope I love it more? Yes, I will. Thank you, Jason. What I don't know. I had a hard time getting into it. It took me 2 days to watch it. I started watching it, but I was also painting. And then the second day I came through and I was actually watching it. I sat down today and I said, I will watch this movie. And then I went, okay, I can see the appeal. And that's about all you'll get from me on that. I can see I didn't mind it, Heather. I didn't mind it.
Oh, good. Well, very good.
Thank you. All right. And of course, we move on to Heather.
As I said earlier, when this movie came out, a bunch of us witches in our coven agreed we were all going to go watch it. So we all went to the movie theater with our hats on and full on. We didn't bring brooms and hex sticks or anything like that. We just had our hats and we set up and we watched this movie and we were so happy. And I really loved it. I'm a diehard romantic, so you put a rom-com in my face and I'm there for it, especially with these actresses and the time I was in and everything. So I really loved it. I didn't find there to be any issues with it. I thought it was so funny when all the women came around and brought their brooms and their Roombas and their whatevers. That was just fantastic. I didn't expect there to be real magic, but there was elements of, there was, dare I say, ideological elements in the witchcraft that they practiced that were honest and that felt real. It felt real in trying to battle with whether they wanted to be out of the broom closet in that town and how to do that. And so that argument and that conversation they were having with themselves felt real. It felt real of trying to legitimize what they were doing, trying to do their witchcraft and be legit in that world, in that community, wanting to be in their town and part of their town, but also being these oddballs, and that sort of that negotiation on how to do that as a mom, as a, whatever, that felt real. The herbal practice felt real. The need to, oh my goodness, we need to have a circle and, the brooms. There was a lot of it that felt real. Midnight Margaritas was fantastic. And I can tell you, they serve them at Mystic South every July. We have a special thing that says Midnight Margaritas and the hotel serves Midnight Margaritas. So it's there's a lot of pieces of it that like I said, it's almost like this underpinning ideology behind their witchcraft lives. There's parts of it that felt like I could connect to, like a lot of witches. And I think that's what witches connect to, is that sort of, how do we live in this world? How do we be witches in this world? And I think this is what this film really does for modern witchcraft. But when I and there's a but. There's a but. And I love
Is there
the
boobs
antes.
and butts?
This is not boobs and butts. This is not boobs and butts, unfortunately. And I agree 100%. When I was younger, I wanted to be the sisters, and when I was old, now when I was older, now I'm like, I love the aunties. There's so many tropes. There's so many things they pull from. The aunties are so much like Sabrina's aunties, and so all these. But here's my but. When I was studying it from the film perspective and really looking at some of the stuff it was doing within our culture, I started to have some problems with it because I didn't like that I used the word defanging witchcraft. And I appreciate the efforts at this time to try to normalize witchcraft, but I think my question is left after this is saying, how far do we go in normalizing witchcraft? We can defang it, and there's parts of witchcraft that are just edgy, and that's the way it is. And so this film really takes that away. That's a philosophical question for another time, but I kind of look at that and go, why does her witchcraft shop look like Bed Bath & Beyond in a mall?
It was a Bed Bath & Beyond and ball, but it not completely demystified because of the damn bird. The damn bird.
No, and you know what? It worked for this film, and it was great, and I love this film, and I still love this film, and I love Aidan Quinn and the romance. So I will never, ever, I will always give this film a wands up because it is just, so, I love it. But if I step back and look at that, I go, it leaves me with some philosophical questions about how witchcraft should be represented in mainstream. How far do we need to go to be normalized, and do we need to? So there's some philosophical questions I get into with this film that kind of like upset my balance.
Wasn't her store, the whole point of it was she was trying to kind of leave witchcraft behind, but she was really good at herbalism, so she was trying to wed the two, but it wasn't meant to be a witchcraft store, I thought. Right?
Well, that's the question. How far do you take your knowledge of witchcraft and normalize it to fit into society? I think that's the philosophical question that this presents for modern witches, that we can use this film to have that conversation. How far do we go to normalize our practice to fit into society as witches before we've sold our soul, so to speak, to capitalism and the greater, how far do we go? And I think that's the conversation this film leads me to every single time. And maybe that's not a conversation for tonight, but this film always leads me to that, for some reason.
I gave up trying to be normal 1,000 years ago. I mean, in 1683, when I was ancient French Wiccan.
Me too.
Sorry to bring the heaviness down on y'all tonight, but this film always leads me in that direction.
I did not feel that at all. You are more educated in this academic sense than I, but I didn't go there over normalizing it because they always pointed out that they were weird and different. I don't know.
The aunties, certainly. I mean, they dress differently. They interact differently. I think the fact that they lived in that big house alone was probably very different for that society. I think they always seem to embrace the weirdness, except for, of course, Sandra Bullock's character, who's trying very hard to push that world away.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the beauty of like the whole ending of it, is that she accepts that. Like I feel like they maybe had the conversation in the movie, but they wrapped it up so beautifully. Like, for the love of her sister and her family, it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks, because we got to save our sister. So I think that's, I get like Patty too. I didn't go there with it very much, but like I do feel like they didn't outright, say it, but showed it a little bit. And then everybody's happy at the end because, just embrace your weirdness and be weird and jump off the roof with an umbrella.
And did you know that there's actually, a lot of people didn't know this, there's if you go beyond the credits, there's actually a little bit more of a video. Nobody knows this. If you watch all the way to the end, Nicole Kidman's character ends up by moving to Los Angeles, where she ends up by playing a witch on Bewitched.
That's true.
That is true. Indeed, she
That
does.
is true. That does happen.
The less said about that sequel, the better for all of us.
And then, as the thing continues, Sandra Bullock's character still tries to normalize her witchcraft and decides she is not going to use magic to stop the bomb on a bus. But she does win Miss Congeniality.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. She does do that. I wonder if that was a glamour spell.
It
Probably.
must be.
Must have been a glamour spell. That's interesting. I never heard the story about it being hex, though. What a odd excuse and excuse else, But I could. It creates a story.
I tried to track down the person who they're talking about, so I don't know exactly how much of that is true and how much is not. It's all speculation and all coming from second and third sources and Griffin Dunn. So, I'd love to find out who it was, but I didn't. I tried.
It was Starhawk.
Was it really?
No. No.
Like, what? I think my searches would have turned that up because I was talking to everybody in the community. Who did this? Who did this?
It was an Etsy witch.
Etsy was not around at this time.
You know
Craigslist?
Like that.
Was it a
one
Craigslist witch?
Craigslist witch? Might be too early for Craigslist.
No, that's true.
One thing, Heather and I are about the same age, and one of the weird things about this, when Heather talks about going to see it in the theater, I don't even remember it coming out.
Really?
I don't remember anybody talking about it. It might have been because it was October, Samhain's going on, and I'm oblivious to things. Also, football season, which all of you are oblivious to, and that's fine. But I don't remember it at all, and that's really different than The Craft, which I did see in theaters and remembered everybody talking about, and I barely knew 5 witches at the time. But this movie, I didn't think about it for years until we did it on the show the first time. And my wife loves it, but she's never made me sit down and watch it or anything. So, like, this was completely off my radar, even though I was already doing witchcraft.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a rom-com. So, I mean, in the end, it's what it is. So you might have just not, it might have just passed over your head in that respect.
It's true. You have to be in the right place to see advertisements.
Mm-hmm.
And I probably was not in the right spaces to see those advertisements.
And they
perhaps.
probably did not advertise practical magic during football games.
No.
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, probably not. Well, Miss Courtney, do we have any quotes on this?
I mean, there's like 1 bazillion, so
Yay!
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say them all because it's too many, but my absolute favorite one is when the guy says, "Curses only have power when you believe them, and I don't." And then he walks away and he turns back around and he says, "You know what? I wished for you too." And that one gets me literally every time. And then, of course, there's the famous, "Can love really travel back in time and heal a broken heart? Was it our joined hands that finally lifted Maria's curse? I'd like to think so. But there are some things I know for certain. Always throw spilt salt over your left shoulder. Keep rosemary by your garden gate. Plant lavender for luck. And fall in love whenever you can." And then my last one is Sally writes a letter to Jillian. And she says, "Sometimes I feel like there's a hole inside of me, an emptiness that at times seems to burn. I think if you lifted my heart to your ear, you could probably hear the ocean. The moon tonight, there's a circle around it, sign of trouble not far behind. I have this dream of being whole, of not going to sleep each night wanting. But still sometimes when the wind is warm or the crickets sing, I dream of a love that even time will lie down and be still for. I just want someone to love me. I want to be seen. I don't know. Maybe I had my happiness. I don't want to believe it, but there is no man, Jilly, only that moon." Mm-hmm. And I think about that every time I look at the moon.
Thank you. That's
Yo Wilkes.
Okay. Jason, do we have you had a couple things for us tonight, right? The Mankey movie moment and perhaps a bonus?
Do we want to do the bonus? I can
Yes,
do the bonus.
we want to do the bonus. Yes.
Explain the bonus, yes.
So if you go to AMC theaters every movie is introduced with a long Nicole Kidman segment where she says really kind of absurd things while being very excited about movies. It's a little shorter now, but I live near an AMC theater, so I get to do these a lot and I hear it a lot. And sometimes I just recite some of it while I'm doing it, but I wrote one for us. So this is it for us. We come to this coven for magic. We come to the witches' movie coven to laugh, to cry, to be hexed. Because we need that. Well, maybe not the hexing. That indescribable feeling we get when the show begins and someone's computer screen begins to freeze. And we go somewhere we were at just last week. Not just entertained, but actively furious someone gave our favorite movie a wands down. Together. Pixelated images on a tiny iPhone screen, sound we can sometimes hear. Somehow heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our witches feel like relatives we see once a year on Thanksgiving that we might have liked when we were children. And movie reviews feel perfect and powerful because here they are. The Witches Movie Coven. We make movies better.
Okay, hear me out. I think we all need that script and we should all record it and see if our lovely producers can piece it together. And that's our commercial for Witches Movie Coven.
I think that would be perfect.
Did I get some of the cadence right, though?
Yes.
Courtney?
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah.
If I closed my eyes, I would have
Line,
seen
line.
Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now my normal shtick will not be as good, but here we go. We're gonna try. If Practical Magic the movie were a book about actual practical magic, it would be one of the worst witchcraft books ever written. Why? Because very little of the magic in this movie is actually practical. In fact, I would say that the magic in this movie is the most impractical magic ever filmed. In nearly every scene, there is a much better spell solution than what our main characters choose. Let's start at the beginning. I get it. You are a broken-hearted witch whose paramour has left a bun in your oven. That certainly stings. But also, if that were the case, why not cast a spell where the guy comes running back to you? Or cast a spell to get a new beau? Why would you cast a spell to never fall in love again? Wouldn't you want to find a rich pilgrim or something? I think I'd want a partner just to help with the childcare. And why would the spell you placed on yourself evolve into a curse on your descendants? That just seems mean and unnecessary. There's nothing practical about this spell whatsoever. Want some practical magic? How about a charm to keep its wearer safe from harm? This way you could fall in love with a dude like Michael and keep him from being murdered by a pack of bicyclists. I know he really gets hit by a truck, but it's really the fault of the 36 bicyclists who apparently live on this island of just a few hundred people and hog all of the damn road. As a practical witch, I would have had a crystal for that. Let's say you and your sister accidentally murder your abusive boyfriend. I'd say he deserved it and self-defense really feels likely to stand up in court, but you panic and try to magic the situation away. There are probably a dozen better options than bring the asshole back from the dead. Here are a few other options. And again, in a movie called Practical Magic, the magic should be practical. 1, the body just disappears. No body, no evidence of a crime. 2, make everyone forget the jerk. Dr. Strange did it for Spider-Man in Spider-Man 3, The Quest for More Money. Number 3, use magic to frame someone who was unlikable. Perhaps a certain Art of the Deal author. Number 4, befuddle all the investigators with magic. Every time someone starts searching for Jimmy, they should just start saying, "Where's Poochie?" instead. 5, magic your way into a lot of money, either for a high-priced attorney or a plane ticket to another country. If you can resurrect the dead, you can use magic to win the Powerball. And finally, pull a share and turn back time. I know that sounds like an impossible spell, but again, it sounds easier than bringing the dead back to life. My next bit of advice doesn't even really involve magic, but if you and your family live in a town where everyone hates you, maybe you could move. Clearly, your house is worth some money, and you can magic your way out of all kinds of situations So why not move to Peoria, Illinois, start over, and get everyone in town to love you? Certainly seems easier than saddling your children with therapy bills after they've been bullied from preschool through high school. And let's talk about Nicole Kidman's character, Gilly. She ends up dating a serial killer? Does she not have access to tarot cards or other divination tools? There's a goddess or a spirit out there that might have warned her. Come on. Again, this is not a practical use of one's magical skills. In fact, it feels like a dereliction of one's witchcraft duties. Why even be a witch if all you are going to use your magic for is to jump off a roof or to get your sister's name at the top of a phone tree? And don't even get me started on you've been possessed by your homicidal and now dead ex. There are ways to prevent that. And in the 90s, there were plenty of witchcraft books. Not even the girls in the craft did magic so carelessly. So, summing up, for your magic to actually be practical, it should keep you from being possessed by the dead, offer an easier path than bring back a guy from the dead to escape murder charges, help people like you, and keep your loved ones safe and break curses. I hope the magic is far more practical in next year's sequel.
Jason.
Yes.
Oh.
That's
Yeah,
a
I know
sign.
my-
That's French Wiccan for I love you, Jason.
Ancient,
Courtney.
ancient French.
That's
Wiccan.
ancient French Wiccan to you, and yeah, you can keep thinking that if it's going to help you sleep tonight. Maybe.
All right. Well, that was beautiful, Jason, I must say. Now, we do have one thing that you guys all in the chat room have to do to us. And thank you all for your fabulous comments. We are reading them. We are posting some of them. Thank you. So, practical magic. Wands up, wands down.
need
I
to
don't
find
have my
it.
wand, so I'll have
I
the
know, I-
dolls up.
Oh, use your doll head point. I'm using a knife.
I have a highlighter. So
Up, midway. A little up,
up.
Jaleel. It's not quite at 180 degrees. It's like 5 degrees up.
Maybe 5 degrees up.
Okay.
Mine is fully up. You know what? I can't get over the romance. The romance always overtakes everything else. So in the end, it's like Courtney reading the quotes just made my heart soar again because I get sucked into the whole rom-com thing. So
yeah,
I'm a
I
sucker
believe
for
in
the
love.
rom-com.
I believe in love when I watch this movie. So
So do
here
we
we go.
call this a girls' movie?
Oh, it is. That's what it's designed to be.
There's more romantic depth in a Hallmark Christmas movie. than
There's
in this
plenty of
film.
romantic depths in Hallmark Christmas movies, Jason.
I know.
There you
That's
go.
what I'm
This-
saying.
Okay.
But this
There's
has
more.
more.
There's
Most-
more in those films.
This was made to be a rom-com focused audience and everything, just with the witchcraft
Come
vibe.
on,
That's
yeah. Come on, Richard.
Oh.
Dana.
No, it's still
5
there.
more percent. Okay, one's up, one's way up, one's up for the Bullock, one's up. Come on, Richard Leo, one's up. You guys are brilliant.
Be true to yourself, Richard Lale. That's the
Okay,
real.
Mary Jane.
Boom.
he went down. Oh,
Oh, this is the best Wands Up movie we've had since I can remember. Where's like
Since Highlander,
48
probably
people
since
here, Wands
Highlander.
Up. This is good. Thank
Well,
you.
we-
This makes the best birthday ever, even with your halfway there, Richard Lale.
Up for you though.
Thank you. All
happy
right.
birthday.
Thank you. This has been the best birthday to have the whole crew there. And though we love having like Tabitha in the chat room because you are a family as well. Not even so distant. So what are we watching next week? Nobody knows.
Next week we're watching the new movie. Courtney,
Weapons?
Weapons. Yes, thank you. We are
Yes.
watching Weapons, the new movie next week, 2025.
His wand is up, trust me.
Not anymore.
It's a weapon.
You're outvoted, Richard Lale. There was not a down in the rest of the thing, but that's okay because we love you anyway.
Well, I
Okay,
know
so everybody watch Weapons. We got a couple minutes left. Anybody have anything fun going on this week or this next couple weeks that we want to talk about?
I do.
Okay.
I'm going to see Saw the Musical tomorrow with Nathan.
Wow.
I got us front row seats in the splash zone. So we're gonna get gross. And then the next day after that, I am headed back to the site of one of our most insane episodes of Scared and Alone, Middleborough Town Hall, where the lights shut off by themselves one by one. And Richard Lale read Macbeth, which was terrifying. And I got stuck in the basement, and I am helping with a ghost hunt. So back in the saddle I go in preparation for what will hopefully be some new Scared and Alone episodes coming.
Good. That is
Fun.
congratulations. That is great. Jason?
My next adventure will be at the Culture Fair in Las Vegas, Nevada on November 21st. Woo! Very
Fun.
exciting.
Thank you. Richard Lale.
I am the Gentleman Psychic. I am easy to find. I'm a little bit of everywhere. I'll be here in New Orleans. I do have a few paintings that I still have for sale. Speaking of Scared and Alone, I still have a few of those original ones that if you are looking to get them, I message me. I'll give you a good discount on them. Yeah. Other than that, a couple of vampire balls, seances. This is my busy season. Devil's Holiday and whatnot. As a former Christian and ancient Wiccan Frenchman.
Yeah. So thank you very much. Heather.
I am going to be teaching a class on getting to know your ancient French Wiccan in November. It's going to be a 2-hour class on the ideology and beliefs of the ancient French Wiccans. That is in Atlanta. We have more on that if you're in the area. But I will also be talking at Conjuration, which is a pop culture magic type festival that happens in November, I believe the 14th through the 16th in Atlanta. It's Conjuration. And I'm going to be there with several other notorious witches teaching classes on the elements and haunted dolls and puppets, and we may be doing some tarot readings and just having a ball there. So that's coming up in November. And of course there's Halloween and Samhain in between.
Yes, we have Halloween and Samhain, and we should talk about that in the next week or two while we're talking about it. If anybody is near Lexington, Kentucky this weekend, I'm going to be appearing at Scarefest, which is the darker side of Comic-Con, as they call it. Flying in Thursday. Friday, I am teaching a haunted doll class or workshop. And Saturday, I'm doing a mediumship gallery with my friend Rob Thompson. We call it Reconnecting when we work together. And it should be fun. It's a combination of horror and paranormal. So that should be good. And then I am hopping off. Where am I going? Oh, Midwest Paganonomicon. I said it right correctly. On October 24th through 26th in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. We're doing rituals and all sorts of fun things. I think seances and all sorts of stuff. Midwest Paganonomicon. And then, of course, I'm heading to go see Richard Lale in New Orleans, and as well as the 5 nights of vampire, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, 4 nights of vampire things. I am doing a seance at the House of Blues.
House of Blues.
House of Blues. It's like that sounded wrong. And I'm doing 2 book signings and haunted doll events. On the 30th, I will be at Bloody Mary's shop. We're going to do ritual together, magical ritual, and bring your haunted dolls and book signing. And on Halloween, the next day on Halloween Day itself, they're doing a big party at Ghost City Tours where they're going to have tarot readers and some kind of an apothecary put your spell candy together and all sorts of things. And I'll be doing a book signing. They've just stocked up on books. And then, of course, 4 nights of balls and all sorts of fun things. So come on down to New Orleans. Like you guys, check out Witches Movie Coven. Like us, follow us. We need it, as Richard Lale remembers every morning to tell us. Like us individually on our social medias. We all have websites. We all love you. And you guys can feel to talk to us in between. Tell us what you want to see. We do want your input or right here between. Tell us something we've missed. We don't know. We're always looking. And that's it. It is 7:00. It is time. We have one more thing to do because we are witches and we're going with a trope here. 1, 2, 3.
Ah!